Testing, testing. Okay, we should be live on YouTube now. And I wore a green shirt. Not such a good idea. Let's get out of that. Let's switch that back. There we go. That's kind of annoying, but hey, what are you going to do? Okay, in just a moment we're going to connect to the Roku and talk a little bit about that. First thing, I'm going to experiment with starting up vMix Social and see if I can connect that. So we go there and login has been configured. YouTube Live log on to begin. All right. Let's get this set up. I thought we did. All right, let's do that brand account. And let's click allow. All right. I don't want to update. Let's trigger overlay 1. Oh heck. 200 characters. All right. Next, let's add an input. And this has to be a title. Let's try, oh heck, let's go really green. And let's put that on just for fun. Alright. Now, I have to view the queue. And there isn't any, that's fine. And I'm going to try to say something. Testing the live chat feature. And we'll see if that went to the queue. No. Oh, I think I know why. I got to turn that on. Okay. Send. Cool. That's very cool. And that has a 10-second. Boom, gone. Okay, that's pretty cool. So anybody that would be out, trigger overlay 1. Yeah, we're going to do that. Okay, I like that. And yeah, good day to wear a green shirt. All right, let's go ahead and cut to the Roku here. And let's see, I don't think I want to have that audio on. So I'm going to turn that off. And I'm going to not mix that. Okay. And then I've got my mic on and I have it not mixing. That's good. So we want that to stay on. The camera, I think we want that. Check that off. Okay. All right, so some things about the Roku. I set this up and I've got this connected to a capture card and to keep copyrights where they're supposed to be. Here, let me do a little check on my mic. go back to the mic and I want to make one little adjustment. I think that's under general audio. Boom. Okay, that way I'm not getting the feedback into my ears. That's fine. So as we take a look at the Roku, this is a Roku Streaming Stick Plus that I'm using today, and one of my favorites for the following reasons. Number one, it plugs directly HDMI into the back of your TV, therefore hidden. It's got a nice Bluetooth ability for the remote to connect to it, which I really love, and it's often able to be powered by especially some of the newer TVs directly out of the USB port, which is fantastic. And I guess the other reason is I like the price. It's about $50 and just flat out works. The remote allows your TV to be connected for both the power button, and also on the side of the remote there are volume controls and a mute button. And it's got a few hotkeys depending on where you purchase this. Those hotkeys are different. The one I'm using today has a Netflix button, a Hulu button, a Sling button, and an ESPN Plus button. Some of them have a little bit different. This also has the ability to control voice with voice commands. So having said that, let me drill through a few of the menu items on it. So when the Roku pops up, it's going to be configured based upon the user that is logged in. In this case, that's my username logged in. And I have the icons arranged, channels, icons, whatever you want to call them, as the order with which I choose. I can remove, I can add, I can move them. We'll show a little bit about that later. And you don't want to get too complicated here. If you do, you're going to lose track of where everything is. So the home button is your best friend. So let's start with the navigation of how one would use the Roku remote to navigate. On the remote, let me see if I can turn on another camera here. And see if I can bring that up here for a second. Bear with me, I apologize for not having this done ahead of time. And let me bring that in a little closer. All right, we're getting close here. All right, let me go ahead and bring that up for a second. We'll cut to that. And I'm gonna get rid of that audio. Okay, the standard remote that I described earlier, and you'll notice that there are blue buttons on that, and I will call those directional buttons. The OK button, another name for the OK button, is the select key. So we have a select key in the middle, we have directional arrows right, left, up, down, and directional arrows do only that. They move you around menus, right, left, up, or down. And let me make a quick split screen here so you can see the effect of that. Take me just a second. Let me add. Set that up, so box 1, let's make box 1 the Roku, and we'll make box 2, make box 2 the remote. can see two different, let me move this around just a little bit, give me a better angle at it. So as I move the directional arrows, I hit the right button, it moves it to the right, hit it one more, it moves it to the right. The down arrow moves it down, 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 and you'll see a little highlight as it goes around. If I go all the way over to the left-hand side, and again, this is not quite lining up in that window, you can see that I can move directionally down through the menus by hitting the down arrow, down arrow, down arrow, down directional, up, 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 up directional. And if you ever lose your place, the home button, which is in the upper right-hand corner, looks like a little house. Always click the home button to get back to where you are. So we're going to call those directional buttons, directional arrows, and the center OK is the select key or the OK key. A couple of other buttons to pay attention to on here. The one in the upper left-hand corner that looks like an arrow, that's going to be called the back button. And its function we'll demonstrate in a moment, but if you can think of it like this, it will remove, or excuse me, it will take you back one step in any given app or any given program that you're in from where you just were. So if you want to move back to something 3 steps back, you hit the back button 3 times. Please note that's not the directional arrow. The directional arrow merely moves you around a screen. The back button is more powerful and moves you back through things. And again, we'll demonstrate that in a moment. So next I'm going to go over to an app such as, let's say, Pluto TV. Now don't worry about the app itself at this point, and our objective here is to not watch live TV, so we're going to move back out of that and show you a little bit about the directional arrows again. So right now I'm going to hit the directional arrows. I've got the down, 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 and it's moving down through the screen, up, 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 down, down, over, moves you in time to the right, time to the left, and you can't see this menu unfortunately right now, but I'm moving around from that. Now when we get up to the top, you'll see the live TV button, and if I move the directional arrow one to the right, it moves to on-demand TV. So live TV, on-demand TV, again by directional buttons. Now if I hit the back arrow, this is a little different. This moves me back to where I was in the app. If I hit the back button one more time, and again the back button's in the upper left-hand corner, it's repeating the steps that I was in within the app itself. Hit the back button again, I'm back to where we started. Hit the back button again, are you sure you want to exit? And I'm going to go ahead and hit the OK button and exit that app. So the power of the back button and the directional arrows can be seen there. Now some other buttons of extreme importance. I'll call this the options button, which is the one that looks like a little star or asterisk, whatever you want to call it, asterisk, star. And if you're on any given square or icon within the Roku, and I'll go to Zumo for example, and I'm going to hit the options button. When you hit the options button, it will bring up some options for that particular channel or app, and the 2 most common are the 2 at the top called Move Channel, and notice I'm using directional arrows to get up to Move Channel, or Remove Channel. Now the first thing I'm going to demonstrate is Remove Channel. Well, why would you ever want to do that? Well, maybe you downloaded the app Zumo thinking free movies and TV sounds exactly what you're looking for, and as it turns out, it's really not something that you're finding useful down the road. So it's cluttering up your screen. So removing it doesn't delete it forever. It's just merely removing it from your screen. You can bring it back if you choose to. So I'm going to go ahead and remove that channel by using the select button now that it's highlighted. And it says, are you sure you want to do this? I have to use the directional arrow one time to move up to show the remove channel feature. And if I hit the select button at this point, it's going to remove that icon from my screen, that channel from my screen. It no longer exists. Now let's take another one. I'm going to move over to Plex. And I've got Plex all the way down at the bottom of my screen. And what that usually means is it was recently added to your screen. And anytime the Roku adds it to your screen, it puts it at the bottom. But I don't want it at the bottom. I'd rather have it moved up more near the top, so when I hit the home button, it's more user-friendly for me. So now that Plex is highlighted, I'm going to hit the Options key, which is the asterisk, and I'm going to now move the directional arrows up to Move Channel, and I'm going to select it with the OK key in the center. Now this is a bit hard to see unless you know what you're looking for, but there's now a box around the Plex icon that's kind of a white colored box, and there's a couple of white arrows, one on the left side which points into the Hallmark Movie Now, and one on the top side which points on the Haystack News. And what that's telling you is, using your directional arrows, you can now move that square left or up. So I'm going to move it left by hitting the directional arrow one time. Now, those original two arrows are still there, but now two more arrows have shown up, the bottom arrow and the right-hand arrow. And that's because I'm now in the middle of the grid, which allows me to move any of those four directions. In my case, I want to move it up, so I'm going to hit the up directional arrow, and you'll notice it's moving, it's moving, it's moving. And I'm going to get it to the position with which I want it. And I want to put it right, I'm going to go to the right one and leave it right there. And if that's where I want it, the last step is to hit the select key or the OK key. All arrows move away. It stays in that spot, and it now has the amber colored box, yellow colored box surrounding Plex, which means it is selected. I'm going to hit the Options button one more time and show one other thing that you might find of interest, and that's the Check for Updates button. One of the good things about Roku is that when it's restarted, it does update checks. It periodically checks for updates on channels or apps. And sometimes you have to force it to do it. And if you ever felt that something was a little off with the channel and you wanted to see if maybe there was an update for that, by hitting the Options button, you can say Check for Updates, select it with the OK key, and it will give you the information about that particular app. And it says that stream app is up to date. So that option had no impact whatsoever. A couple of more buttons of interest on here. And again, I'm not going to show any live TV. I'm not going to show any movies. But if we were in the middle of watching some show or some movie, you'll notice in the middle there is a button down here which looks like a forward arrow and two little dashes on it. And that is the play pause button. And if you're watching anything live, or you're watching a movie on demand or a show on demand, and you want to pause that for a period of time, merely hit that button one time. You will pause the display, and when you come back, you can hit that button one more time, and it toggles between pause and play. The button on the right is for fast forwarding, either live TV or fast forwarding on demand content. The button on the left of the play pause button is the rewind button. It will move you back on that, and you can change speeds with which it goes back and forth on that. So very nice little features. I'm going to roll this around a little bit to the side, show a couple more features on here. And again, this is the Streaming Stick Plus. It has built-in volume control and a mute button, and that is configurable to the television that you're set up on. It does a scan and allows you to configure that when you start out your Roku. And at the very, very top, you'll see the red button. It's a red circle button, and that button controls the power to your actual TV itself. And what we're able to accomplish by doing that is we're able to eliminate possibly another remote from the system. It allows you to control your power and your volume for your TV itself, and that's a very, very nice feature to have, and it's on the $50 model of this. If you drop down to the $29 model, you're not going to find that feature of the power button. You won't find that feature of the volume control. In my opinion, those are certainly worth the value of the Roku device itself. So as I scroll around here, and I'm going to eliminate the picture and go back to the Roku itself. I'll be doing everything off screen. Little quiz, I just hit the home button and I hit the directional arrow, directional arrow, directional arrow, directional arrow, directional arrow. Again, a quiz. That was the options button, which looks like an asterisk. 3 things we can do here. We can move channels, remove channels, check for updates. There's actually a 4th called give us feedback. I've never used it. It's up to you. I'm going to check for updates on TLC and see what it has to say. And again, up to date, all good. Now let's take a look more at a couple of the things that I get questions about. What happens if you take your Roku on the road and you want to connect to the Wi-Fi at another setting? Over here on the left-hand side, Home comes up by default, and Settings is the next section just above it. And there's a number of things here, and I'm not going to go over every one of them today, but one of the things I'm going to talk about is this network setting right here. And I will show you my setup real quick by clicking the About button. It's showing me what network or SSID I'm connected to, which is, I'm doing this from my home right now, and what the status is, connection type. Signal strength is very important to look at, and one thing you might want to pay attention to is what they're judging your internet download speed to be. And remember, that's subject to change as time goes on. That's subject to location, but it's saying it's good right now at 31 megabit. On the left-hand side where it says About, Check Connection, Setup Connection, I'm going to go to Setup Connection. Now this is what you would use if you were going to take your Roku on the road and possibly connect it to your relative's Wi-Fi or something, if you're going to do an extended stay of some kind. So this particular device only has wireless connections available. If you had the Roku Ultra, you would have not only a wireless connection, but you'd also have a wired connection, and you would see these 2 choices show up under the setup connection. So I'm going to go ahead and click the wireless right now, and the first thing it's going to do is scan for any wireless networks that are present in your area. Now if you were at someone else's home, for example, these connections wouldn't exist because these exist within my own network inside. And if I took this on the road with me, it would scan all the ones available in that person's home or hotel or wherever you were, and you would then connect to whichever one it was. Now I'm going to go ahead and show you what that would look like. I'm going to go ahead and say connect to that one. And since I've already connected to this one, it has the password stored inside of it. I could clear it and start over, but I'm not going to. But if this was a brand new connection, there would be no asterisks up there at the top, and it would be asking you to come into this area and 1 letter / number / symbol at a time move to the letter, number, symbol combination, click the select button, and it's a little bit time consuming, but as you continue to add 1 letter, 1 number, 1 symbol, whatever it is at a time, once you have it all in there, the next step is to click Connect. Now watch the screen closely at this point. It goes through 2 checks. First thing it will try to do is connect to the wireless access point or wireless network that you told it to connect to. And you'll see a green arrow, and this happened very quickly. And then the second thing it's going to do is determine whether or not it can get out to the internet, which is extremely important. It's rare that it doesn't do both, but if you get a green checkbox and a red X, that's indicating that we have a problem. So again, I'm going to go ahead and kind of back out of this now, and we've gone through just a couple of things about the Roku. And the Roku, in my opinion, it's no better than a Fire Stick. Is it my choice? Yes. The reason it's my choice is because we have a couple of Roku TVs in our home. We wanted everything to be similar in our home. So in the case, we're a Roku household. We have 6 devices that use Rokus, and 3 of those have the Roku built in. They're TCL TVs, and we're very happy with those. Our main TV in our living room is a TCL TV. Very happy with it. Highly recommend it, but lots to learn, but yet it's a pretty quick learning curve. So I appreciate you coming by today. Let me see if there's any more social out there. I doubt it, because no, but I was able to check that out today, and I was pretty happy with how that worked. So having said that, I'm going to go ahead and check out of this stream at this point, but I want you to thank you for joining. If you get a chance, please subscribe to Stream Emporium. And if you could like this video, I would certainly appreciate it. I'm getting started in the streaming world and trying to make some useful videos for those of you that are cutting the cord and help you to move forward in your mission. So this is John Pearson with Stream Emporium, and we'll see